What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty Shannon with another episode of Steelers Global Perspective. We are talking the big name prospect you like the least. Now, Shannon, last episode we did the good before the bad.
Yes.
You know, the good news before we went to the bad news. I think this time we're going to eat our vegetables first. Vegetables are a good thing in real life anyway, but we're going to eat our vegetables first before we get to our prime rib. So let's start off with the big name prospect in this NFL draft that you like the least.
That's easy for me. And I don't have to worry about it because the Steelers are never going to have a chance to even sniff him. But to me, it's Caleb Williams. And I've said this last college football season. I said I would not want him regardless. I think that this class of quarterbacks is overrated. I said last year I thought it was overrated because everybody kept saying, oh, the Steelers, you know, they reached with Kenny Pickett on. And I'm not arguing that, but I'm just saying that this year's class, I think, is also overrated. And Caleb Williams is the most hyped quarterback prospect, overhyped, that I can remember because they compared him to Patrick Mahomes.
Mitch Trubisky was pretty overhyped.
Well, he was, but I'm just telling you, people do not understand about playing quarterback at any level, much less professional. You got to have the respect factor of your teammates. You got to have a certain personality. You got to show toughness. I'll never forget when Derek Carr, when he was first with the Raiders, he looked like he was going to have an MVP type season. And he got hurt and he was crying on the field. And everybody talked about that. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing, you know, he's hurt and he's crying on the field, which we've all been raised. You know, hey, you don't cry because you got a boo-boo. And it hurt him with the Raiders because of that. A lot of the guys didn't have respect for him. Now you see a guy in college that he loses a close game and he crawls up in the stands and lays in his mommy's lap and cries like a baby. Now, everybody can say what they want and they can say that, you know, that I'm insensitive or whatever. But, you know, I don't care if the guy paints his fingernails and likes lip gloss and all that kind of crap. If he can go out and he's tough on the field, can stand in there and complete 4 or 5 touchdown passes, lead my team to the Super Bowl. But I'm telling you, that guy with that, he's that tender, he's that soft-hearted. The NFL is not for the timid. Timid don't need to apply. And in my opinion, I don't care how good he throws the football and what they think and they project. I'm judging by what I see. And I did not think he was that extraordinary on the field. And I definitely don't like his personality and his character off the field. So in my opinion, whoever takes him number one, that could potentially be one of the biggest busts in NFL history.
Well, I agree with you as well in Chicago's case because they said all these things about Justin Fields and, you know, like, look, he's now a Steeler. I'm not going to let you off the hook, though. A Steelers relevant pick, who's the most overrated prospect?
Oh, the most overrated for a potential Steelers pick.
Correct.
Oh, man. See, I wasn't expecting that because I knew immediately who I was going to say. Why don't you give yours and then swing back to me on this one?
Jackson Powers-Johnson. Very simple.
Okay.
Very simple.
We kind of talked about that on our last segment, yes.
Yeah, I know. And it was I maybe shouldn't have put it there. I think Tyler Guyton, I mean, I wouldn't say most overrated, but Jackson Powers-Johnson, I mean, the guy's played 1,300 snaps. That's less than half of any other, you know, top 5 center. He's a guy that's played not even 900 snaps at center. One of the most penalized centers in college football last year. Let in a bunch of pressures. If you actually look at the grading too, like NFL.com's prospect ratings, you know, 6s are generally someone that is starter capable. He's 0.14 different from Cedric Van Pran, and people have Cedric Van Pran almost 50 draft rankings lower. I know that you're not as high on Barton as I am, but Barton on every athletic score, every combine score, every next gen stat score is better when at center. The guy's a day 2 pick. The guy is a day 2 pick. The margin between him and Frazier is minimal, and I'm kind of over the hype. And if they Steelers draft him at 20, I'm not going to hate it because the Steelers need a good center, but I ain't going to be happy about it at the same time.
I would be greatly concerned. I would be excited for the present, but I would be concerned for down the line because I want the next legacy guy, and that means 8 years, 10 years. I'm concerned that his, as we've said, his physique, I don't see him having longevity in the NFL.
Yeah. So now do you have a Steelers one for me? I can let you off the hook.
Now, I will say the only reason I'm even saying this name is because I've seen him as listed in some of the professional mock drafts, like on ESPN and mainstream sports media. But Xavier Worthy, I think, is the most overrated receiver that people are saying first round. Yeah. Again, they're going to make the same mistake they made with Ross, the same mistake they made with Austin. Guys who run these really otherworldly 40 times in a straight line, and you watch them in college, and they are talented, and they would be okay in, let's say, late second, third round. But when they run this fast time, they instantly, people say, oh, we got to get him first round. And whoever does is going to be, I believe, disappointed because there's more to it. We talked last night on the Pump Your Brakes podcast that most of the all-time greats, I think it's like 80% of the all-time greats were clocked between a 4.5 and a 4.6. And there's more than being able to run fast in a straight line. And even then, Tyreek Hill is the oddity. To have a guy with 4.2, 4.3 speed and be dominant receiver in the NFL, Tyreek Hill's in a class by himself. None of the other guys run anywhere near that fast. So I think that Worthy is being severely overrated.
Yeah, I see that as well.
Over one metric, over one thing. That'd be like a guy coming out putting up 45 on the bench and everybody loses their mind. They don't do that. But when that 40 is brought into the equation, if Al Davis was alive, he would be a Raider.
I love it. Well, that is going to wrap up this episode of Steelers Global Perspective. I'm Matty P. with Shannon White as always. Go Steelers.